Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, has 5 Super Bowl rings. 5. That's more than most NFL owners, but as many of you die-hard fans may know, he should have 6. After his team won their 5th Super Bowl, Kraft was invited to visit the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. As the story goes, Kraft took off his $25,000 ring so that Putin could take a look at it, and he exclaimed that he could possibly kill somebody with such a ring. Ha ha ha. The Russian head of state then pocketed said ring. When Kraft objected, 2 burly KGB officers surrounded Putin and escorted him out of the room. Kraft never saw his ring again. When he officially objected through the U.S. State Department, he was told he should just be thankful for the opportunity to bestow upon the great leader such a wonderful gift. Soon after, Kraft issued a statement saying as much. That is the power of a tyrant. In J.R.R. Tolkien's classic fantasy series, which included the book The Lord of the Rings, the evil Sauron is able to manipulate a famous jewel maker into designing several rings of power that people believed would bring peace to all the lands. When the newly forged ring was worn by its chosen owner, however, it did not fill their minds with thoughts of peace and tranquility. Instead, their minds were polluted with dreams of power and glory. They became convinced they could do anything to control and manipulate their people to get that power and glory. But that was not the worst of Sauron's plans for these rings. He had something even more sinister, more cruel, and more dangerous in mind. People of power and influence often have a special ring. Rulers through the ages have had rings to display their regal greatness. Think the magical ring known as the Seal of Solomon, or the Pope's so-called Ring of the Fisherman, or the powerful rings of comic book characters like Green Lantern or the Flash, or the ring that Genghis Khan believed was the power behind his entire empire. Imagine possessing such a ring. What power, what glory. You could become a mighty ruler, or better yet, a ruthless tyrant. Think of it. Who wouldn't want limitless control, endless adoration, and tremendous wealth? I am here to tell you that you can reach for the ring of power. You too can be a tyrant. And why not? You could be the person who gets things done. Why bother with outdated democratic principles when you could pass any law at your own whim? Why get bogged down with discussions and committees and debates and those bothersome votes when you could be easily draining the coffers of useless institutions and meddlesome bureaucratic departments? You could free your adoring subjects of tiresome debates and cumbersome decisions. Instead, you could build great monuments to yourself. Hire your own personal security team or even your own army. You could have parades and special holidays dedicated to your greatness. And rest assured, you will be known throughout history because your name will be echoed for generations to come. You, yes, you, could have all of this. All you have to do is become a tyrant. And as luck would have it, I am here to tell you, you can reach for that golden ring and achieve such a dignified status. Now, there really are only 3 steps to tyrannical distinction. The first is to grab that ring of power and seize control. Do whatever it takes to become the supreme ruler you know your country needs you to be. After all, you have come forward to save this country from all the moral turpitude, educational indoctrination, depravity, and those disgusting acts of kindness and sharing that have made this country so weak. Despots cannot be elected in a country where everyone helps each other, or who thinks that everyone deserves the same chance in life. Set people against each other, sow hatred, cause confusion, lie, cheat, and steal to get where you need to be because the end justifies the means. And once you become the ruler, the people will realize that it is for the best. They will come to love and adore you. You will have appeared just in time to save them from themselves, because only you have the full vision, the grand plan, the gift of prophecy. That's right. I said prophecy because a very important tool in the arsenal of a rising tyrant is to make sure you get the dominant religion of the land on your side. You could turn your plan into God's plan. You could shape yourself into a savior figure. With prophet status, you can be ignored for your occasional mistakes, incoherent comments, or even illegal acts and other such silly social faux pas. Your cause can become the cause of righteousness against the heathens and the evildoers. You can become the mighty hero capable of superhuman feats while receiving undeserved adoration. You could offer heavenly sanction for hostility and cruelty and help make America hate again. Once you have hoodwinked, lied, and cajoled your way into gaining power, you can then begin the real work and take control of all aspects of the government. One time-proven method for taking control is to dedicate your administration to the destruction of an evil and unholy enemy. Find a scapegoat. Blame them for everything, from the economy to the warts on your toes. The enemies of the state can be any group of people, real or imagined, such as immigrants, the intellectuals, the media, the educational system, the judicial system, the legal system, or any system that does not vow allegiance to you and your new empire. Of course, one of the most time-tested scapegoats have been people of other religions. Jews, Muslims, Catholics, Hindus, and minority denominations of any large religion are great targets for spreading blame and resentment for the ills of the country. As the anointed ring-bearer of your religion, you can demonize your scapegoats and claim that you are leading your people into a holy war against the cursed enemy. Make sure you clearly identify your scapegoats with labels so we all know who they are. Call them fascists or communists or child abusers or pet killers or freedom haters, because they are taking away your God-given right to take over the world. Once you've identified the unholy, you can then begin to steal from them so that you can fill your coffers and pay for all those statues they're going to build of you. With all that extra money, you can pay off your friends, your cronies, and your informants. If you increase your list of scapegoats to include just about everybody, then you will be morally justified in taking their money and possessions for yourself. You can also pit one group against another so everyone is spying and taking from each other. Let them do all the work for you, while you take credit for clearing the swamp and scooping up the riches for your virtuous and pious cause. But if that isn't enough, you can direct all that hatred and bitter indignation you have built up into starting a just war. Because after all your battles are moral and divinely sanctified. You can finally rally the nation together to fight the beasts and monsters on other shores. For the sake of your protection of the people, you can then declare martial law and bloat the ranks of your military. All your stealing and brutality and marginalizing can be branded as necessary to defeat the enemy. Laws and rules of fair or humane treatment and any other unpleasant courtesy can be set aside because you can claim the nation is under siege. After all that carnage and chaos and confusion, you will then be ready for the third and final phase of your great tyrannical rule. Make sure that you can stay in power for life. After having witnessed your awesome power and might in bringing the nation toward the correct path, which of course is your path, your vision, and your ambition, your people will surely want you to stay on as their loved, supreme, and blessed leader. You are, after all, the holy messenger, the great Redeemer. You can pretend to have fair elections when in reality you are the only viable candidate. Make sure that all the youth are indoctrinated with your message so that your name will live on for generations to come. Change history to reveal the real truth, your truth. Make sure you control the message in the media and every channel of propaganda available to you, and remain brutal in silencing and eliminating all real and potential opposition. In the story of the Lord of the Rings, we eventually find out that Sauron has managed to forge one additional ring that will control all the other rings and give him absolute power. All tyrants have a ring of power they use to control others. The power often comes through fear or social unrest or an economic crash or some other catastrophe. From there, autocrats grab onto some popular sentiment and explode it. People become worried about the future of their lives, their jobs, their homes, their families. That fear, that sense of dread, that anxiety becomes the power of the ring, the sacred ring of the tyrant. For this sermon, I must end with the words, "May it not be so."